Fantastic. Right, so who we are as the BBFA, I want to start there basically. Those that don't know me, my name is Matt Hardy. I'm a team of one. The BBFA was kind of my brainchild. Thinking, I'm in as part of my day job. I'm into social media management, and I'm chronically online, and I talk a lot about British basketball on social media and in various Discord groups and stuff. So I see a lot of the discourse of what's going on with British basketball in terms of what the fans think and the concerns that they're having and things like that. So but ultimately, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan like you guys who is concerned about the way British basketball is going. When I say we, in terms of like the BBFA literature, I use that to include you. At last count, we have 269 email signups to the BBFA, which is really cool. Over 4,000 views of all our stuff on the website, which is really encouraging. However, some of the stuff that we're asking for in terms of improved governance and transparency and things like that, I'm no expert. As I say, I'm just a fan. So as we grow, we are going to need sort of volunteers, and I'm really happy to sort of say that I've had some really nice offers from other fans that do have a background in governance and do have a background in sort of the legal jargon that we may be sort of up against and having to understand. And I'm sure I'm not the only kind of British basketball fan that is a little bit sick of seeing Companies House and trying to have to sort of try and get to the bottom of all these documents and things like that. So, as we grow, we are going to need a little bit more help in that regard. But ultimately, we are a group of fans that all want the same thing, and we all just want British basketball to grow, thrive, and survive, ultimately. Over to our mission and our principles. We're not here to pick sides between organizations. We're independent, we are fan-led, and we are pro-British basketball. We're not here to be disrespectful. We're not here to slam anyone. We're not here to sort of have a go at the character of any individuals. We may disagree with some things that certain bodies do, but we want to approach it in a professional, collaborative, supportive, and ultimately sort of optimistic way. So there's going to be no defamation of characters. There's going to be no pointing of fingers. It's just we're here to kind of talk about sort of the main things are clarity, accountability, and sustainable growth. So we may have certain campaigns that we focus on. It might be something very, very specific about, getting more British basketball played at a younger age and talking about age groups and talking about pathways and things like that. But as on the macro kind of level, if you zoom out, we want clarity, accountability, and sustainable growth across everything, really. And we believe that the decisions that are being made, which are kind of once in a generation decisions, must involve the people who support the game, and that's us. There are people that have been going to basketball for a very long time, that have seen basketball sort of boom and bust, probably bust a little more than it's boomed over the last few decades. And this is just something that we really want to get behind and galvanize and work together to make it better. So the why we exist, you guys are here tonight because I feel as though fans have been left out of the most important conversations about the future of the sport. Obviously, the BBF awarded a 15-year license to the GB Limited with no sort of meaningful consultation. From what we understand, through very limited sort of communication with the public and Hoops Fix interviews and press releases, is that there was quite a prohibitive amount of money to tender or to enter this tendering process. And obviously the SLB Limited had their take on the legality of the process. Obviously, we can't say whether or not it was legal or it was illegal, but what is clear as fans is that the running of that license process or that tender process didn't sort of produce as many different sides as it could have, which means, you know, it's the person leading to the only person that really made a bid got it, and that's kind of at the expense of all the British basketball that we know. You know, the 9 current pro clubs aren't in that league. They're quite happy to stay out of it. So there's just a lot of uncertainty, and I think the reason why we exist is to try and get some certainty in this uncertain time frame. So yeah, it's a tricky one. So the SLB have committed to running a season for 25-26 without BBF or FIBA recognition, or I know there's. So the BBF haven't given them the official license. However, there may be some way that FIBA can, or they can be recognized by FIBA without having the license. But again, this is all stuff that isn't really easy for fans to understand. So just a bit of clarity from SLB clubs would be really, really great. We've also had no information from GBBL about how they intend to make this wonderful sounding league from scratch in a little over a year, 16 months or something. So how are they going to do that? They've talked about all these cities that they want to move into, which have been sort of in the crosshairs of expansion in British basketball for what feel like years and years and years, perhaps decades. But again, we love the ambition, but there's no substance there. There's no plan. There's no sort of, we haven't been given foresight of what that means in actuality. And then that brings us to the real guts of what we're here for today. It's something that we're calling the Campaign for Clarity. And this is our first national push to get real answers. So we want to hear, because no one else is asking what the fans think, we've got to put our thoughts and our feelings out there for everyone else to kind of to listen to or not. And we want a clear roadmap. We don't want PR. We're calling on the BBF, the SLB and GBL to come forward and speak to us directly as fans, because without answers, there's no trust. And without trust, the game doesn't grow. So this section is about you. I want to hear what you think. What questions do you want to ask the BBF, the SLB, and the GBL? What concerns do you have about the future of the domestic league? And what do you want included in an open letter that we're drafting on behalf of the fans? You can speak now. I think you can I think there's a facility to raise hands in the chat or drop ideas in the chat. And, you know, if you'd like to come on and, you know, turn your camera on and get involved and share your thoughts, then please do. I'm going to go through the chat quickly just to make sure that I've not missed anything. Lots of hellos. Thank you very much. Peter, Callum, thank you. So yeah, if there's anyone, I don't know if we can react. Yeah, so if you click reactions on the bottom bar there should be an option to raise hand. So if anyone people get extra points if they do want to go first. So yeah, Enrique, first up, thank you so much. If you want to unmute, then the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, guys. How are you? I hope you're all well. So I've started following British basketball over the last 2 years. I'm an immigrant here. I've been living in the UK for 7 years, and I'm local to London, so I've started following the London Lions. And from my perspective, I've seen the London Lions last year play under the BBL with a completely different team that it's played under this year. Most of the players are different from the ones they have this year, and for me, it's more of a relationship experience because me and my girlfriend we attend these games almost religiously, and it's a very welcoming experience for me and for her because we get to bond over a game that we both appreciate, and the quality of the game is pretty good. The thing for me as a London Lion fan is the club was founded in 1977, and apologies. Uh, with this plan over the GBBL taking over the license for the league, I don't see how the Lions will commit to joining this league since there is no plan for them joining this league. And even recently, the London mayor has approved for the London Lions to build a new stadium in the River Thames, which for me seems extremely unreasonable given into account the situation of the league at the moment. So I would like some further clarity as a London Lions fan if I'm going to be able to keep supporting my team and the players that we have there and developing. So that was my point. I appreciate you guys. I hope you're all well. And I hope we do make a change in British basketball. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. That's so good. Yeah, I think that's a really nice sort of piece of news to build on. Like, I think before the GBBL stuff was announced, the London Mayor stuff was announced before that. So there are plans afoot to grow British basketball and for them to get their own arena wherever it may be. So yeah, it's just without that, with that all the uncertainty that surrounds the future of it, then teams like London, who are all ready to commit, and they're run by some pretty competent people out there already running very successful basketball teams. So they've got the means and they've got the knowledge to do that, but without that certainty, it just throws all kinds of questions going. Enrique, thank you so much for your contribution. I really appreciate it. Rob Hunt, you also have your hand up. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Matt. Hello, everybody. So I'm Rob Hunt. I know quite a lot of the names on the chat, which is nice. But for the people I haven't met already, it's lovely to meet you. I'm a Surrey fan. So see you on Friday, Enrique. I guess starting at the beginning, the first question I feel like we need some answers on is what on earth is going to happen in 25 and 26. I think there's a lot of other questions, but the first initial question is, are we going to have a league in 25, 26? Which clubs are going to be playing in it? And more importantly, I guess, which players are those clubs going to be able to attract? Because I think it seems like 25, 26 is in the BBF's plan is a stopgap waiting for GBBL to come along. And if that is the case, and if that is the plan, it's really hard to see how we'll attract any players of quality, or how the existing SLB teams would invest behind that. So whilst there's a sketch of a plan that says 25-26 will be another season of SLB, and I saw they put a promotional video out today saying exactly that, and there are lots of questions about actually what does that look like if that league is going to end in 26-27. So that would be my starting question, I think.
Yeah, and Rob, thank you. Yeah, I know we've spoken a lot on online, and this is the first time I've seen your face. So yeah, really nice to put a face to the name. So thank you so much for your contribution.
So I'll turn my video off now, Matt, so you don't have to look at me anymore.
Thank you. And yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just all this uncertainty, and I think as fans we want to support the game, and we want to support the clubs that we've been. I know it's in a specific example of Surrey that you've had a name change and you're a new team this year, but ultimately you've been watching Surrey play basketball for a long time. So it's these kind of things that you can't replicate. You can't, if a new league pops up and all of a sudden the BBF says, no, this is the main league and the best league, fans aren't going to just sort of jump ship and go, okay, well, I'll do whoever's playing in Liverpool then, if these people are still going on. And yeah, it's very, very strange. And yeah, I believe it's been said in the chat here from Johnny. Thank you very much for your contribution here. That apparently people have got round a table, but again, with we don't know what that means, and we don't know who the people were, and we don't know what was discussed. And in the absence of fact, rumor is abound. So yeah, the better they are at about communicating what's happening, the less we have to speculate, and the more confident we can feel.
But I think, Matt, I'm just going to follow up. But as a fans organisation, we're going to be asked to put our hands in our pockets now, as we are, for please can you buy your season tickets for next season, and we were here this time last year. We're here again, going, well, we're not really sure whether there's going to be a league, which teams are going to be playing in it, which players are playing, which players will be able to attract. So, when we're talking about demand for clarity, I think a really good place to start a demand for clarity is what on earth does next season actually look like? And before I write my check, or that shows how old I am, before I tap my credit card and spend 250 quid on season ticket for me and another 250 quid on season tickets for my daughter, I would like to understand, what teams are going to be playing, what level of players are we going to have, are we actually going to get to a competitive league again for next season?
That's a great point as well, because I feel like the parity in this past, had it not been for the off-court drama, I think that the on-court stuff would have been really, really enjoyable this season. The parity was great, but if players and agents can't be sure about the league that they're going to be joining, of its legitimacy and all this kind of stuff, then they may go elsewhere, and that leads to a low quality product for us. So yeah, I think more clarity and what those because we, even not knowing where to begin with those implications of what not being a licensed league is, it's crazy. So yes, again, thank you, Rob. And I believe the next person with their hand up was Brian Walsh. The floor is yours.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Rob. Similar to Rob, know a few names on the chat. Great to see faces. First of all, introduce myself. I work for FIBA, so I'm blessed to work in the basketball world. I am a father. Evan plays for Bristol. Sorry about Sunday, Rob. It was a great game, but it was ultimately Bristol came out on top, and I actually prefer you guys get London than us. So
we wanted to play London anyway,
absolutely.
Brian.
So I appreciate that. They probably made mincemeat of us, so you've beaten them 4 times this year. So we're chuffed about that. But I'm also a fan. So from my point of view, I've seen Evans played for a number of teams in the old BBL and the SLB for 1 year. And I've met so many passionate fans across the time period that love this game and want to trust the guardians of the game, but struggle to do so. So I think my question would be, you come from a positive stance, Matt, with this. We want to be able to trust the guardians of the game, but how do we trust you guys? Because our evidence in the last 3 to 4 years has been nothing but distrust. And so I'd just like for them to have a dialogue, conversation with fans that allows people to trust the guardians of the game. And by guardians, I talk about the 2 main institutions, both the professional league as it is in its current constitution, and the British Basketball Federation. So my big promise, how can we trust you?
I think that's a great point. I think especially given what we've just barely come out of in terms of the 777 situation, and the BBF, and to both of their credit, the BBF and the SLB have pulled off put an incredible shift in over last summer. And we want to be as complementary as we are sort of combative, for a better word, with everyone here. If they do a great job, we want to sing their praises. They did an amazing job getting together and working together, to get 777 out the door and take the license off them when they did, and to get a working league so we could have basketball. But yeah, I think we're all kind of a little bit once bitten, twice shy. But I think British basketball fans have been bitten more than once, it seems. So
yeah. And it means such a lot
really
to such a lot of people. This game, people are very passionate about it, and people base their social lives around it. You know, some of the fans in Leicester we've known for years, you know, they are travelling up and down this nation to follow their team, and significant amounts of outlay, emotional, financial, psychological, and it's just about trust. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Great.
Good job. Thank you.
Fantastic. No, thank you, Brian. Very, yeah, fantastic contributions. Thank you very much. I think the next one we have is Grant. Grant, you have the floor.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's good. For those who don't know, I'm a Gladiators guy and also host the SLB show. So obviously we've talked a lot about this, and I'm just at a stage now where so much of what we've spoken about this year is so similar to what's been spoken about in previous years. And Brian's just made a good point, the amount of fans. And I've been in Scotland, you see the amount of fans travelling north of the border, whether it's Leicester the other day or Sheffield guys who have travelled all around the country. There's been Surrey fans. I think every game there's been away fans, and it just shows the passion that we all have for our teams. Like, it's amazing to see players and go about up and down the country. Sorry, fans go up and down the country, and at the end of the day, it's the fans that seem to suffer. Like, and that's where I feel like what you've done, Matt, is brilliant. Is creating a platform that allows fans to connect and having a voice and kind of share on questions. Because obviously, what I suppose for me up here to Rob in Surrey and to Enrique in London can all be different, but all we care about is making sure our clubs survive, because that's what we love to do, and spend our hard-earned cash or to speak about and whatnot is really important. So hopefully this is a vehicle that, or I'm sure it will become a vehicle that allows for that to happen. But like, there's so many different questions to start with. If we look at the SLB, in my opinion, transparency from them is still a long way away. We've seen obviously numerous things change within their season. It's been well documented that we've all spoke about at different times. We've seen the Canadian referees, for example. We've seen import numbers change. And that's stuff that can really upset fans if it's not clearly almost spelt out early on in terms of rules and following and whatnot. We've been quite outspoken on probably my position, quite anti-BBF and what's happening. It just doesn't seem like it's clear. It doesn't feel like it's not fair in the game, but it's just not right. Like, I've got questions about when did like GBBL or Marshall Glickman come to the table, as it just feels like it's all geared towards someone getting their foot in the door for NBA Europe, which is kind of a worry, because you want that to kind of work for the whole nation. And when you talk about what FIBA want out of it, is it to help the national games and to help domestic leagues, like that filter down economy, or I can't remember whatever the right term is, but doesn't seem to always work. And I just hope to see movement soon, because Bob's just nailed it. Like, next season is so soon. Season tickets. It's good to see the league putting out some nice promo material today, and you just hope to see that's going to keep continuing. Teams are selling season tickets, finals are on sale, because at the end of the day, we all want to keep talking about British basketball.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, Grant. I think there's lots of stuff that we just don't know, and yeah, it's just getting incredibly tedious, and it's almost it doesn't feel like our job to really try and pull teeth like this. It feels like almost to touch on Brian's point again, it feels like we should be communicated to in such a way where all this stuff is easy to follow. But it just doesn't feel like it is.
And it just feels like we've been through so much change last summer that it's quite divisive already again. And that's just something that I don't think the community, or look what Dan Routledge said the other week. Look what Sam Neaters posted about. Those are two massive advocates for our game, and Dan commentates throughout Europe. Sam's stuff is no doubt viewed throughout Europe, and when voices like that are saying they've kind of had enough and they're tired of it, that's a major concern. And if I'm sitting around the BBF board room table, those are kind of voices that you should be listening to as well. And I'm curious to see if anyone has any thoughts on the member of the BBF board that's resigned today as well. So that may be something that can be discussed later on.
Very poignant. Yeah. Thank you, Grant. I think we'll move over to Keith B. You've had your hand up there patiently for a little while. Please, what would you like?
Yeah, thank you. Follower of the BBL and SLB, I guess, for 35 years. So I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of going bust. I've seen Americans come in, throw money about a model that doesn't work in this country, and here we are again. Unbelievable that intelligent people at BBF have made this decision, because it's not logical at all when you look at it hasn't worked numerous times. To me, the SLB is a fantastic league to get it up and running in a year, and it's a great product, but without having a good product and supporters, they haven't got anything. So I guess we are in a powerful position within a reason, maybe, as supporters. But my question is, if we're saying, look, if this is, we are going to be the voice, to ask questions to SLB or whoever, or BBF, whatever, how does that work? Because if you've got, I don't know, say 1,000 members, and 500 think we should go in one direction, or 500 think we should go in the other direction, how are we going to be one voice?
It's a great question. It's something that I'll have to upskill myself on, and this is where I'm gonna sort of reach out to people that have had kind of more experience in this than I have. I'm very keen that it is a democracy. It's not, a Trojan horse of me spouting off and trying to get what I think in front of people. But there's polls, there's forms. With signing up to the BBFA, I now have the facility to run this kind of outreach to the people that signed up, and if that includes surveys and things like that, and voting on certain issues, then that's absolutely something that I want to approach too. I can't say that I've got the answers now, but it is definitely something that I want to ensure is enshrined in what we do going forward.
So it'll be a balanced opinion across all of us. Okay, but how we get there by polls, whatever, yet to be decided. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Good stuff. No problem. And thank you, Henrika. You back once again. Floor is yours, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will be very quick on this. I did mention
Please.
I was an immigrant, and I am from Portugal. And I did follow Portuguese basketball until I came to this country. And I would like to mention that stability there has provided a big platform for basketball to grow within our country, even within junior development and within acquiring foreign talent. So in Portugal, since we have such stability within the clubs, we are able to import a lot of foreign talent, even USA players after they come out of college, EuroLeague players. And I feel like British basketball, I've read this recently, that basketball is the second most played sport within young people in this country. And I do not think that the league, the federation represents or reflects this statement as a whole. For me, it is a big disappointment, because England is such a big country with such a big market, and it feels like basketball is so underdeveloped in this country. And I would really like to see a step forward so that we can see more exciting basketball, more exciting British basketball prospects coming up in the ranks, going to the NBA, going to FIBA teams, whatever, staying in the SLB. I would just like to see basketball being more developed within the audience that's already there, that's not being reached for at the moment. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely perfect, and please don't apologize. Your contributions are really, really welcome. And I think it's crazy where, like you say, you've got especially in the case of London, where you've got EuroLeague owners that know how to grow stability in their team and things like that. So, and it's just a shame that they're almost the legs are being pulled from the carpet's been pulled from under them at the moment. So yeah, it's just very strange. Rob Napper, you have your hand up. Please, what would you like to say?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Rob K, off the Discord channel. You know who I am. Brief introduction for myself. I've been a Manchester basketball fan, as most of you know, for a very long, long time. I was watching Manchester basketball when Jeff Jones used to play for them. That's how old I am. We've got the chance with what you're setting up, Matt, now to do something that I've always wanted for British basketball to do, for the fans to have a voice. I've been through the good times. I've been through the bad times. And to be honest with you, I thought this season was fantastic. brilliant. I'm not just saying that because of what's happened with Manchester this season. For Vaughan and the rest of the owners to put a league together within 6 weeks, absolutely fantastic. But the problem is that I don't know if anybody can tell me, is there a constitution for the league? Is there a set of league rules for the league? I know Dave Forrester keeps going on about it on the Sunday night podcast about the fact that the transparency is not there because we can't see this. There needs to be a constitution from the league with regards to what their aims are, with regards to, I know we keep going on about it in the Discord, with regards to the talent pathway. I know Louis is a big advocate of this. I am as well. I've been involved in local league basketball now for nearly 50 years. There needs to be the transparency from the SLB now to decide what they're doing. We see all these things with Sheffield signing up to the joint partnership with the team in Spain, with the university as well. They're in place. Manchester have one with MMU because Callum, God bless him, is the head coach at Callum, is at MMU. So the links are there, but nobody knows that they're there. You know, it's one of those that we as the fan organisation should be out there screaming and shouting from the hilltops. Hey, look, there is British basketball in this country. I coach youngsters in this country, and I have been for a long time. When I ask them who Dan Clark is, Great Britain's greatest ever player, you know, they don't know who he is. You know, the captain of the Olympic. But yet, when I bring the pictures in and show them my picture with him and LeBron James at the 2012 Olympics together, when I managed to get them both together, they know who LeBron James is, but they say, who's that one stood next to your coach? Don't know who he's wearing. So that's the problem that we need, as I think, is to, if the SLB can't do it, we need to do it, I think, as the fans face, to say, hey, there is professional basketball. I've got kids now that are going to watch London Lions. You know, they're going to Leicester Riders. So they are getting there. But if you talk to them about, and the women's game as well, I mean, I'm assuming we are going to be the voice for the for the women as well, not just the men. It's dire. We know the women's league is really, really poor with regards to organisation. It's getting better again, but again, that comes down to technology and everything. I think what we need to do is get the owners around the table and just bang their heads together, you know, and say, what the hell are you doing? You're ruining this game. I love this game. A lot of people love this game, but we need to be able to sit down. There needs to be a constitution. That's the first thing I think. If the rumours are true that they're talking to the National League, the NL1 are talking about wanting to break away from Basketball England. I can't see that happening because that's Basketball England's cash cow, to be honest. But if they are talking about SLB2, fantastic. But again, where's the pathway? You know, what happens? Do those teams come in, or do they have to then merge with one of the teams in Division 1? I don't know, but that's me. That's my two penneth.
That's great. No, a very impassioned contribution there, Rob. Thank you so much. There's obviously lots and lots going on, and lots that fans will be worried about and will be, want to ask questions about. I think what we need to do as the BBFA is to be. I'm kind of thinking about it in terms of campaigns, sort of one campaign at a time. So I think that personally, the most pressing thing is, what does next year look like, and what are the plans for the year after that in terms of the pro game. So I think when we pen the open letter, I want to make sure that the questions in that to the BBF, to the SLB, and to GBBL focus primarily on that, and pathways and things will kind of do that. But I think, there's just a lot to unpack, and there's a lot of stuff that needs addressing, and not a lot of time to do it. Louis, please, your hand is up. Please let us know what's on your mind. You're on mute, buddy.
Sorry, guys. It's probably on socials. I'm sure, it's good to meet everyone, and have my video on. So what I wanted to get across is I just want some reassurance in terms of, the playing level and the sustainability of, the new proposed league, like the GBBL, because, from what has been outwardly stated publicly, I just have some, major concerns with what they're proposing and what it means, like in terms of our game, especially considering we are in a like post 777 age, considering the lack of agreed terms with the existing 9 British Super League clubs. Like, how can they endeavour to create an equivalent product? If a large majority of our venues in this country are, small scale, and there's an agreed deficit in this nation of medium-sized venues, will we be facing the prospect of of the majority of our games being housed in, public leisure centres? What would this mean in terms of, cash flow and revenue generation for each of these clubs? If games are housed in large arenas, how is the proposed 20 million going to cover this across, all the clubs? How are they going to sustainably, float every single team? Considering 777 spent 7 million in a short period of time. And also because SLB reportedly spent 15 million, this season. Sorry, I'm reading off. It's probably bad, but I'm reading off.
No, I appreciate the time you put into it, mate. It's really good.
Doc,
it's good.
But basically, considering this, how can they project a timescale of when they break even, and can we trust this as a league going forward? I just have. Obviously, I have a lot of questions that need answering. It's just, it's not something that, considering this encompasses a large proportion of our game in this country. I just think we need a lot of questions answered as fans, and will we have a game to support in the future? Because it's not just about in the present. It's about years in the future. If will we have jobs for players? Obviously we have Brian in this call, which I really appreciate. He's been so brilliant in talking with us and providing another perspective. But I'm just scared about the basketball economy in this country. Will players have jobs? Will coaches have jobs, etc.? So I'm sorry for the ramble, but yeah, that's what I kind of want to get across.
This is what this space is for people for fans to get their thoughts and feelings across, and you've done that brilliantly. And yeah, thank you for your contribution, Lou. It's really, really appreciated. Rob, you were up next, my friend, and then we'll go to Keith B.
Thanks, Matt. I was actually just going to agree with and echo what you said in terms of the kind of structure of the open letter that you're proposing we write, because I think there are, as we're learning on this call, everybody's got hundreds of questions, and so the difficulty is going to be, how do you distill that down into something which is meaningful, doesn't sound like a long rant, and actually gives somebody the opportunity to actually answer those questions, which is clearly the point. And I think what you said in terms of, if there's a structure around there in terms of 25-26, what does that look like? And then 26-27, what does that look like? And the kind of questions that sit underneath that, then, as you said, I think that's probably a really good structure for us to try and look for in terms of the open letter. So I was merely agreeing with you, but that's all.
Great. No, I love it. I love it when people agree with me. That's great. No, thank you. That's really good. But I think, as Keith said, I think it's really valuable to make sure that we're all kind of paddling the canoe the same way. I don't even know if that's a turn of phrase, but I think we want to kind of be representative of everybody's feelings. And I think that's, a way of, including the people that weren't on this call or weren't able to come to the forum today. If I can email everyone a Google form or something with put your questions to SLB in here, put your questions to GBBL in here, and your ones to the BBF in here, I think that might be quite a slick way to keep it a bit focused. But yeah, thank you very much. Keith, what would you like to say?
Yeah, just a quick one, because I've spoken before, so I don't want to take up too much of people's time. But is it thought that this open letter would spell out what we all think about what model? My personal opinion is that I've seen, as I said before, so many particular Americans come in, put loads of money quickly. That's not the way. Organic growth, pyramid, foundation upwards. It takes time, and it has taken time. But I think the BBL and SLB are going in the right direction. New arenas, a fantastic TV coverage, actually. so many good things going on there, which so would the open letter say this is the model that we all want? We don't, which is a slow organic growth. Okay, things can change and get better, I know, but it doesn't work, the models that they're looking at now and have tried before. So is the message, if we all agree, is that the message?
I think the way I envisage the open letter going is a space to ask for answers to questions that we have, but I can also include in there a section for fans to offer their point of view and to almost offer suggestions and comments as well as questions. So if you have specific sort of thoughts about the way things should be going or the way it should be run, I can't say that because I'm not an expert in those things. I don't have your experience in following it and things like that, so I don't have experience with what seems to be working over a longest period of time. But yeah,
I'm no expert, but when you see it happen over years, numerous times, I don't particularly think I'm particularly intelligent, but that unless something fundamentally has changed from last time, and it hasn't,
sure,
that the same thing's going to happen. And some of the people making the decisions haven't seen it before because they're too young, maybe.
Yeah.
And I wish it wasn't this way. I wish you could put millions in and quickly get where you want to get. I don't think that's feasible. It's not the way to do it, and it's been proven, and it's still not the way forward, in my personal opinion.
That's it. I think the saying is how to make a small fortune in sports is to start with a big fortune, right? I think so. So yeah, it's I wish it was that easy, but as you say, it feels like it's been tried before, and it's not great.
Matt, sorry, I'm just going to jump in really quickly then, just to say, I think it might be a good idea to organise a couple of polls amongst the group. So then, in the open letter, we could say something like, in our poll, 90% of the fans said they prefer to keep their established clubs rather than move to new clubs. I guess that would probably be 100%. Yeah, but something like that might put some kind of context. It might be quite an easy way for you to speak on behalf of the group with the group's words rather than your own words.
I think that's really nice. Sort of taking the pulse of the fans and what we want to do. Yeah, that's a great idea. Grant, you've got your hand up there.
Yeah, it's kind of echoing what Rob just kind of said with that last kind of question, but like I would be so curious to see if we don't have a league next season, how many fans stick around on the prospect of following a new club the next season. Like it very much feels like with the approach being taken by GBBL. I can't say that word very well, but what approach? Like I'm curious to see fans in Surrey. Are they going to support a new team? Is there going to be a Scottish team? Would people follow that? It just feels very much like fans in this case will be forgotten about because they hope to create new fans. And I think SLB, BBL, historically, clubs who do really well in the community build their fan base successfully that way. You just have to look at what Newcastle's done. And there's probably stuff that a lot of people at Newcastle say we could do better on. And I'm just curious to see what happens if there is no league next season. Like how many people will stay involved? How many people stay involved in the sport? Will people who follow the game at the pro level start following NBL or SBL? Or that's the worry, that actually a community is totally killed off. Like, would be fans just gravitate back to the NBA? Possibly, but then that then makes the British game suffer, and that's to me a major worry. And hopefully there is a league next season. Hopefully it's one that the quality of player coming in and the governance is correct. And we're not just going to have, if the SLB still exists, but without FIBA's backing or BBS backing, one that's just British players or young players or players not like, there's so many risks attached to just going a non-affiliated league. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it feels as though if we aren't going to include, if a deal can't be reached where the current top British basketball clubs aren't a part of this league, then it feels like a non-starter. I don't believe, if as a, talking as a Flyers fan, if Bristol didn't decide to come into this GBBL league and, a Bath City team started, I wouldn't then just flock to there. So it's a really, really strange one. And it feels like it's a decision that's been made by looking at audience demographics and numbers on a spreadsheet rather than the actual sort of tribal, emotional, sort of illogical person that will support their own team. But it feels like there's quite a bit of a disconnect there. But again, thank you for your contribution. Enrique, how you doing?
I'm alright. I would like to go back to Grant and Keith's point about the future of basketball and what all of this implies. Me and my girlfriend did get the chance to travel up to Birmingham to watch the SLB Cup final, and it was a 20,000 seat arena that was almost filled to the max, and there was a bunch of children there, the same as there are in the London Lions game. And for me, the thing I'm most worried about is that these children that are just starting to get into the world of basketball, once they reflect into what the SLB will become in the next year or 2 years, which will be non-existence, they will look at the SLB and British basketball as a failure. So they will not think of following through with basketball in this country because they don't see it as a viable opportunity for their future. That's my point, which is really concerning because it has to start from the roots. The children, the young people are the ones who will develop the sport to the future. And if we can give them a product that they will be invested in, that they will be uncertain about what the future will be, they will not go into basketball in this country. Seeing the amount of potential that this country has to raise future superstars such as Evan Walsh, which Brian is in the chat today, Aaron Rye, which has changed from Cheshire to London recently. For me, it's a bit disappointing that these players that have great potential don't see their future in this country, which they should, because it is such a big market and such a big economy that should and could be exploited to the maximum. So I would like to point that out. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, it feels like sometimes British basketball just needs to get out of its own way, I think. But yeah. I see the chat absolutely going off, and I really, really like it. I haven't been able to keep a hold of it, but I believe people have been asking questions and answering people, and it's really, really good. Hopefully, I'll be able to save all of it and read it through after the call. But we have another hand up, and Martin, would you like to take the floor?
Firstly, thank you so much for doing this. It's greatly appreciated what you're doing. Looking at the BBF documentation, and they said that all of the stakeholders had been consulted. Well, you're looking at a whole heap of stakeholders here. We are stakeholders. We're the people actually who've paid for this league, because we're the people who go along and we're the people who buy the season tickets. And I think that it's a little bit insulting, really. And I'd like to thank you for effectively making a forum where we can be consulted. And I think that's got to be the key objective, that from this point forwards, that we are recognised as stakeholders in this league. That's the first thing. And the other thing is that as stakeholders in our clubs, I'm a Leicester Riders supporter, and I've been a Leicester Riders supporter since they were Loughborough All-Stars. My teacher at school played for the Loughborough All-Stars, and I used to go along 50 years ago or 45 years ago. And so I've been around a long time, but I'm not interchangeable. Because a club opens in Birmingham or Derby or Nottingham, I'm not interchangeable. I do go along and see other games, but hey, I'm a Leicester Riders supporter, and we've got supporters from London, we've got supporters from Manchester. We used to have supporters from the South Coast. What was it? Oh dear, I forgot the name of the club now. Yeah, Plymouth Raiders. Look how that ended up. This cannot happen again. And so, yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's my ramble over.
Thank you. It's much appreciated. I think sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and if we sometimes have to pull up our own chair to the table, yeah, hopefully this is just the start of what we're going to do. I think we've been going for almost an hour, which is incredible. And again, thank you so much. I'm going to do one more call for those that have been going off in the chat. If there's anyone else that would like to come on and step up to the mic, as it were, give their 2 cents and put some questions down. If not, I think, pop it in the chat, or I think it's a great idea to follow this call up with something a bit more long form, perhaps like a form that I can send out to all the subscribership, so we can all sit down and have a bit of a think about what we want to include in these open letters. I think that'd be great. But I think we'll do one more whip around, and then I'll let you guys have the rest of your evenings. And Rob, what would you like to say?
I'm just going to hang on. I'm just going to say, with regards to the Referees Association, maybe worth reaching out to them. To not be part of this, but it may well be worth to. There's the Coaches Association, which I'm a member of, as well as the Referees Association and the Statisticians Association. Believe it or not, every aspect of officiating in this country has an association as such. So it may well be that we get to those. But I just think that the referees and I say officials, I don't just mean the referees, I mean the table officials as well. They will be affected by this as well. With the referees, we know what's happened with the referees this year. The dream is, and we need to be able to say that we want to support our officials, but we believe that the league needs to support them by giving them the tools to be better. We harp on about, and Dave Forrester goes on about, and we see it all the time in FIBA in the World Cup and EuroLeague, the instant replays. How quick are they to get them up? And we need that. Maybe we need to put that in the question with regards to how are the league going to be supporting the officials to make them better. Just my 2 penneth. I mean, they could do with giving Rob P a few more technicals, but that's my 2 penneth anyway. So,
Cool. Thank you, Rob. That's awesome. Louis, I believe I accidentally popped your hand down earlier. So when you had it up earlier, so I do apologize, but the floor is yours. Thanks for coming back.
No problem, Matt. Just going on from what was just said by Rob. I think a big part of this organization is about being pointed in what we want. Stuff like video replays and stuff like that are clearly needed in our game. We have a platform to do stuff like put pressure on. That's kind of a function of what we can do with this organization. And I think that decent scoreboards at every venue, stuff like that, it's because a big part of this organization is about fan experience too, not just about the battle between SLB and GBBL. It's about what we want from our game and stuff like that. So like Rob said, wonderfully, stuff like that, put pressure on stuff that we need in our game, So that's my point.
Amazing. That's great. And I think that is absolutely the ambition of what this group is. As we've kind of touched on this evening, there are a lot of battlegrounds and a lot of hills to die on as British basketball fans. But I think this is the first step. And I just want to thank everyone for coming along. It is, I was expecting, maybe half a dozen hardcores would turn up, but it's been an amazing turnout. I want to thank everyone for spending the last hour or so of their evening raising concerns and stuff like that. So I think, as I say, this is just the beginning of something truly, truly special. Everything that has gone on today is going to be uploaded to YouTube, so we can listen back. We can continue the conversation in the YouTube comments. We can continue the conversation on socials. I'll be continuing to put out content on the bbfa.org. I'll be continuing to spread the message across socials. But if you can just take the message back to all the supporters, fans groups that you're in, all the forums that you're on, anything that will help drive our message forward. And that message is, we deserve a seat at the table. We've been here for a long time and we've seen stuff come and go. And without the fans, there is no product. there is nothing to sell there's no one to sell basketball to. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up. And yeah, together we're stronger. We're together. We are the BBFA. And I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for coming. And hopefully we'll have another update and maybe another even another fan forum in the not too distant future. But thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you. Good job.
Cool. Thanks everyone.
For this opportunity, Matt. Good evening.
Thank you. Ta-ra.
Well done. Good job.
Yeah, greatly appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Hello, Matt. Just before we go.
Hello. Sorry, you wouldn't let me unmute. How are you doing? Thanks so much for your contributions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. I just wanted to point out I'm gonna go to London, Surrey this Friday with my girlfriend, and I would be more than welcome to spread flyers just about the BBF.
Amazing.
So we can get more reach to people and we can get more people in this discourse. If that's fine with you, I'll be more than happy to share flyers within the game.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome. That's great. I've been thinking about how to like get that kind of that material out there. It's definitely something that I'm thinking about. But yeah, if we do end up taking it forward, I'll send you a little message.
If you want, I can create just a flyer with just the BFFA, the social, the Substack link.
Great.
And
please do.
Whatever socials we have, and I can just spread them across, just so we have more people. Like whoever is interested will join. So
amazing. Yeah, please do. That's great. That's really nice of you. Thank you so much.
That's fine. I'll do this Friday then. Yeah. Thank you for this. We're gonna get British basketball to the top. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you very much, Enrique.
Thank you, Matt. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.